There are with the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports, that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it. And which is why, and again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing,
mm-hmm.
but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second, every lap, like in this unbelievable groove.
Mm-hmm.
But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. It's, everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you, and that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because
Ready? Play. Ready? Play.
So excited, I thought I would play the intro twice. Or I left it on loop by mistake. Yeah, you decide. I've decided to join just for the first minute or two. As I can see, Damien is just getting comfortable in his new villa in somewhere in Spain. I think he's decided to leave deepest, darkest Poland and buy a villa with a swimming pool and of course a tennis court, and of course it's indoor carpet. Even though he's bought a villa in Spain. Go on, Damien.
Yeah, it's like a wooden thing, actually. I don't see any carpets here. Yeah, it's my Aston Villa. Anyway, no, that's an awful joke. Yeah, happy to do the semis. Lots of good fun coming up. I'm actually more excited about the second match, but for now, I think maybe the guys will actually give us a show.
What was I going to say? I don't know if you both saw this image about 2 weeks ago. It was like of the ideal apartment somewhere in Norway, and somebody had like underground. They had a tennis court. Did you see that, Mario?
No.
It was in a tweet. Anyway,
No,
the thing was, the roof was too low. Everyone was like, "Oh, how amazing to have this amazing thing," and deep down,
yeah, you're right.
the roof was too low. I just couldn't. I'd be like, no, can't have this. It was almost as bad as Paris Bercy.
Definitely.
How you doing, Mario? All right?
Yeah, I'm quite okay. A bit busy. My dog is not well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name, Mario?
Robbie.
Robbie. Is that because of Robbie Williams or
Robbie Koenig?
No.
Robbie Koenig.
No, nothing. It's just my mother's choice, so nothing related to anything that. But yeah, nothing particular. Just something with his stomach. But
Okay.
we are we are just a bit busy. But it's okay. I followed a lot of this tournament. I've enjoyed. I have to say that I am actually also probably more interesting in the second one, in the second semifinal. Yeah, but I'm sure that both matches are going to have, some interesting things.
All right, I'll let you and Damien discuss, and I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is of course a rematch for a Roland Garros Juniors final, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know about you, but there's the feeling. Given what I saw, I have the feeling that something's gonna change tonight, but we'll see.
You mean that it won't be the same outcome, the same result as in Paris 2 years ago.
Yeah, I have this feeling.
Yeah, definitely. Like the assets of Van Assche, the consistency, the efficiency with which he, does everything literally. I think these things are just really, well, taken as something, absolutely premium in the juniors. You've
Yeah.
got guys like this winning slams all the time, getting to
Yes,
number
exactly.
one, getting whatever. Whereas Fields, with the sort of more explosive, less consistent play style, attitude, anything, yeah, I do feel like it might be a sudden change in this matchup here, but who knows? I mean, it might be still, because they know each other so well. Sometimes these matches get trickier for players as
Yeah, that's
well.
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so
The group stage, I have to say that Van Assche hasn't really impressed me in the group stage. It's been a lot of ups and downs in his matches. He suffered a lot against Medjedovic. The serve was um yeah, I saw one of your tweets, and I have to say that I agree when you said that Medjedovic was kind of struggling more against himself than
yeah.
against his opponents, and even in that match against Van Assche, and that's got me because I probably thought that at least in terms of a bit of the experience got in some matches this year could have helped him a bit more, but probably among the four semifinalists, he's the one who played not at the highest possible level.
Yeah, also like when it comes to the experience, like if you compare him and Medjedovic, does he actually have more sort of big stage experience than Hamad? I
No,
don't really think
probably,
so, right?
probably really not. It's more,
Yeah.
it's more probably a common feeling, also because of the ranking. But yeah, this year Medjedovic got quite a good experience also lately. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I understand what you mean, because like just when you just say the names like Medjedovic, Van Assche, yeah, it feels like Van Assche has sort of been higher, done bigger stuff. But actually, I mean, Hamad has the two ATP semis, right? He
yeah,
has
in the
two
end,
ATP
yes.
quarters.
In the end,
Hamad
yes.
made two slams as well. So yeah, I don't think that was really an advantage. Yeah, I just think Van Assche, just like I sort of thought before the tournament, that well, he is pretty likely to get out of groups. So for he has just done that. There were
Hmm.
probably like three main favorites to get out of groups. The Mikkelsen being the disappointing performer, of course, in that red group or whatever it was, the second group. Whereas still, it feels to me like Van Assche actually winning the title, though, would be quite a shock, because to do that, he needs to beat Fils and then Medjedovic or Striker. And
Yeah,
these
you're
three
right.
just seem a little out of his range. I don't want to say he cannot beat any of
Yes.
them. But yeah, winning against two of them, that seems a little outlandish to me at the moment. Personally, I would love a Fils Medjedovic matchup in the final, just because we've already seen Fils and Striker. It was
Yeah,
a good match,
exactly. It's
but yeah, I just want that, and especially as Medjedovic, as I said yesterday, as you mentioned, I think he was just ridiculously good in groups.
Mhm.
So that would be my perfect final. But of course, Fils Striker, I will take that as well.
No, yeah. I mean, I always prefer watching, even in this tournament. I always prefer watching a match I haven't seen
Yeah,
during the group stage. Usually, uh, but yeah, we don't have control about that. So
it can
we,
change though, because when we had that Sinner
yeah,
Djokovic
definitely.
storyline, right? Everyone wanted Sinner Djokovic in the final then, but that's because the first match was so exciting, and there was like a big build up in terms of what will happen if they face again. Whereas here, it wouldn't quite have the same ring to it. So
Yeah, definitely.
anyway, Fizz started pretty well, getting a few unreturned serves, getting a few good +1 forehands in. Van Asch not really handling the pace, but of course, it's still very early days, even in this rapid system. I saw that Van Asch also is falling a bit in the rankings to like 90, which I think is a more accurate reflection of his power level right now than like 60 something that he had
Well, I mean,
a few weeks ago.
we already saw right now. We saw on the screen that was he played 30 ATP Tour level matches in the main tour and won 12. So didn't really get an advantage in terms of wins and points by getting to the main tour quite often this year. So yeah, basically ranking are just a reflection of
Yeah.
let's also say that starting playing more on the main tour, it's also a risk because you still have to win matches in order to get the point you need to stay there in the ranking, because if not, it's a risk, of course, to taking to a higher level, and you have to be ready if you want to keep succeeding in your process.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, for him, it was a very. I mean, I think it was an obvious choice given how many points he had
No,
from
for sure.
the last few months of 2022 and also the beginning of 2023.
Oh, sure.
But
A
yeah,
risk
there might come a. Yeah, I
I mean,
understand. I understand.
just from a ranking point of view, it's if you have the chance,
Yeah, I mean
you have to take it.
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, there is a chance that in the spring where he defends 2 Challenger 125 titles, one in Po and one in Sanremo, there is a chance that if he drops that and doesn't really confirm it with I don't know Indian Wells or whatever he'd be playing at the time, or maybe even these challengers, if he doesn't confirm it, he might actually fall off a little bit and spend a while outside the top 100 next year. It is very much a possibility. But of course, there's lots of time, and I'm not saying he doesn't really belong like on the verge of the top 100. I know I've said a few times that I'm a bit of a Luca Van Assche. Well, hater is a strong word, but I tend to underestimate him. I just tend to underestimate him, or maybe I actually estimate him, accurately. Who knows? But definitely, I just don't tend to rate him as high as some of these other prospects that we have here. And in fact, probably the 3 biggest prospects in the event are in the semifinals along with him. So it's also a tough group to compete against, to hold up against in these sort of discussions. So. But yeah, if you guys don't remember that 2021 Roland Garros, that was a big week for French tennis because we had 4 Frenchmen in the semifinals of the French Open. I think this year it was very similar at the French, where almost we had 4 Russian girls in the semis, but Perez
you're right.
stopped one of them. But yeah, it is very rare. And yeah, Fils, Van Assche, Mpechi Pericard, and Quenel, they all managed to make the semis. Van Assche defeated Fils 6-4, 6-2. They're actually born within like 1 month a day of each other. So it's basically, they've played through the junior systems in France, so they know each other extremely well. In the juniors, Van Assche used to be better, well, at least until maybe the latter half of the season when Fils won Orange Ball and that stuff. But certainly, in their at least matchups, Van Assche tended to be better. But since then, they haven't really played, at least not officially. Maybe they practiced together. Probably they did actually. And yeah, we'll see how it is today. The assumption is that Fils by now should have more. I mean, he should be sort of outside Van Assche's range, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, so far nothing really to say. Just 3 very fast service games, just 1 point won by the receiver. So what up?
No. I'm laughing at the Van Gogh legacy.
Yeah. What about the 4 guys who've been, eliminated in the group stage? Who's the one who you appreciated the most? You feel like has been, for example, I felt that what to say? For example, Shelby have been quite a good campaign for him, despite getting getting out. He got one good win, and especially in the first match, even if it was for one, the last two sets, I felt that he's been very, very competitive.
Yeah, Shellback in any match, he was just up there with the other player. And yeah, as you said, 2-4-1 sets against Vanash, but he was still having a lot of breakpoints there and just couldn't take them. So yeah, I think he definitely still performed better than expected, and I think has to be proud of this performance. I did say before the event that I thought he was going to get eliminated with a non-0-3 record, so like he's going to get a win or two.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think it was going to be like that. I thought he was probably going to like grind out a very tough win against maybe Vanash or maybe Mikkelsen, and then just lose all the other matches, somewhat easily. But no, he was just competitive from start to finish. Every single minute almost of his campaign, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great sign. Probably in Milan that wouldn't be possible. It is fairly a lot slower here, but that's a good sign for the future. I don't think he's like a top 100 potential in 2024 or something like that. But yeah, that's a good sign that against these type of players, after all, in a few years, these sort of players will be occupying, the main tour spots. Then that's good that he was able to just stay competitive against them, and yeah, easily could have qualified. I mean, it was very close. And Koboli as a whole, I think, also ends this on like a positive note. He came very close, but I think I just had zero expectations for him entering the event. I considered him to be sort of at the, well, maybe even lower than Shellbike in my power rankings. I think if I was doing them, I actually would have put Koboli 8th and Shellbike 7th. So yeah, I think for him it's a positive as well. And the two guys, the two other guys, a little disappointing. Like it's good for Nardi to get that win in the end, but getting blitzed by Streaker in 54 minutes, his backhand just being under constant pressure in that match, and him not managing to do anything about it. Unlike in the recent match in Bratislava, I think that really brings him down. Of course, otherwise it was fine. A good win over Koboli, a loss to C5. But Mikkelsen, of course, as a whole, also a huge disappointment. But at the same time, you gotta remember he lost 2 fifth set tie breaks, right? So he wins even one of these, and suddenly we are talking about his qualification scenario. So yeah.
As in the end, has been very, very close between Streaker and Koboli. Because basically, with Streaker in the end,
Streaker needed a set. Streaker needed a set in the last match.
No, in that point, see, but if you also see from the Koboli's perspective, in the end, getting that win against Nardi when he lost the deciding set tiebreak,
it would have gotten him the semis. Yeah, that's true.
Let's say that in the end it's been just a set because it's been 5-6 and 5-7. So
yeah, and I think Nardi finished at 5-8, right? So
yeah,
it was at least very easy to count there. Who has the better record? Yeah, you didn't actually have to put it into the calculator or whatever, but
the difference has been made by the fact that if you think about it, Streaker got that set against Fields and Koboli didn't. And so that's that, I mean, we can do a lot of but probably it's also to be said that if you lose one match in that way, probably you don't really then deserve to qualify. I don't know. I mean, it's we can make a lot of stuff up of this group stage scenarios.
Definitely. I think Koboli was a little helped by the fact that Streaker also had like that these FI issues and like couldn't really lunge into either direction in the opening match. So from that perspective, I guess you could say that it's disappointing for him not to qualify since he had that win. But still, I think he played very well in that match. Fine campaign for him. I think a positive as a whole, but not. Just a little disappointing if you like remember how it played out and how much of a chance he had.
Exactly.
He was outplayed by Fitz. I mean, we cannot really.
The set he lost against Nardi, I think it was the third set.
Oh yeah, he served for it. Yeah.
Yeah, he had his chances. Yeah, love
Yeah.
30 here.
Yeah, pretty out of nowhere. Fils misses this pass on forehand, which clips the net but falls out. Earlier, it was like a decent deep return from Van Assche, and the backhand was netted. So, love 30. Indeed. Doesn't make the same mistake twice, though. Very similar ball, I guess.
Yeah. That's out with a backhand from Fields, and so Van Assche's 3 break points.
Yesterday against Rikar, he was actually like stepping into that backhand cross court so easily. I guess it wasn't far wide here, so.
We have a long rally here. Ah. I don't know if the point has finished for you. Okay.
Yeah, I have one stream which is far ahead of you and one which is far behind.
Okay.
I'm not sure which to choose, but I've already seen the point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
19 shots, yeah.
19 shots in the end. Fields, misses the forehand after. Van Assche did really well with that slice. That's where Van Assche can put Fields in uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, and there were a couple of moments as well when Van Assche was really like even taking advantage of shorter ball from Fies. I think especially when Fies got that rather pacey shot at his extreme grip on the forehand, and then kind of had to slow it down. So yeah, all in all, a very good rally for the. Well, I want to say the 19-year-old, but of course they're both 19-year-old. But for Luca, and he has the first break. Obviously, there's a few comments in the chat. What changes do you most like in this tournament? No warm up, scoring system, something else. Is there anything special this year that really? Because we wouldn't want the fast four format anywhere else. Like for this event, for 1 week of the year, I like it. I think I like it. I think it works. I'm entertained by it. But would I like it on the actual tour?
Exactly.
No.
I'm pretty much the same in terms of what changed comparing to last year. I don't know, because there is the warm up, but it was only 1 minute last year, so it's not really a big change having 1 minute or not having anything. I don't know, because I see, given it's only 1 week, I still find this pretty far from find like of a special week. Let's say like that. I treat it like that. So.
Yeah, so someone was asking me about this on Twitter last night, and I was like, would I like this event as much as I do if it just was regular tennis scoring and etc.? Yes, but does it stop me from enjoying this? Absolutely not. I mean, as a 1 week in the year, it's perfectly fine. I like that change about, well, that was already there last year, but I like that change about 15 seconds between aces, double faults, and unreturned serves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like there's absolutely no need to extend these breaks after an ace. Feels this is in like full, let down mode here and just imploding. So it looks like Van Assche will get that first break. Of course, first set. Of course, he earned it the hard way with the previous game and the rally and breakpoint. There was also a question from Sean about nuance surprising us at the event. We sort of briefly chatted about this earlier. I think probably the biggest disappointment and a surprise in a negative way was Mikkelsen. Just how much I guess he was exposed athletically, especially by Medjedovic in the opening match, despite getting to the fifth set tiebreak. He only really had like a few games, I guess, throughout the event where he like truly showed what he was all about. Otherwise, well, maybe the fact that Shellback was so competitive, that he was, every single match from start to finish, he was really up there with these guys. And there wasn't any real moment where you would think that, they have to beat the guy. I mean, it's obvious that Medjedovic will now crush him. No, there was no moment like that. So maybe that is the biggest positive surprise.
The first set is over, so Van Assche takes it 4-2.
German says that it reminds him of the match against Nardi, where Fils found himself after a little bit. That's what the Frenchman will be hoping for. Honestly, until 2-all, he was playing normal. Like, he was actually engaged compared to the Nardi match. I don't know if it's going to be the case here as well. We'll see. Maybe he's also going to like start pumping himself up. Or
baseline points 1, 11, 4.
Ooh, that's a nightmare for Fils.
Van Assche won 11 and Fils 4.
That's definitely a bit of a nightmare for him. Again, super high on the average speed on the forehand, but I guess it wasn't really felt in the baseline rallies then.
Yeah.
Because that was also the case against Striker, where like he was, at like over 130 kilometers an hour on every forehand, well, average forehand. But then, of course, he was winning most of the baseline points against Dom. Do you think Fils is a future top 10? There's a question about that.
Okay. Fils future top 10. Well, I'm thinking about the players who have been able to reach the top 10, and I'm thinking about Fils' game and where he can grow, and I feel like he can.
Yeah, I don't think it's that tough for him. Like, I don't think the target is all that high for him.
Top 10. I'm also thinking about all the players who have made it to the top 10, and so in the end, I think like why not?
Yeah, if you ask me if he's gonna win a slam, I don't know about that. I mean, that's something that I guess I just don't know anything about yet. I mean, there's so many sort of moving factors, but I think with his athleticism, with his talent, with his ridiculously heavy forehand, top 10 is a very doable target.
Yeah, let's say that it's a little more easy to predict things about the ranking, because the ranking considers the whole performance of a player. Talking about, when you talk about him, will he win a slam? There are a lot of things that can or cannot happen, and it's definitely more difficult to predict that.
Yeah, and rankings at the same time, they are relative. Like, sometimes it was really hard to make the top 5, for example, because you would have the big 4 plus. Then in the 5th place, let's say Del Potro, Wawrinka, Verdict, Songa, Feyer, one of these guys. And then how do you reach the top 5? And sometimes it's going to be actually quite simple compared to other eras. So, of course, it's a bit of a guessing game, but I don't feel like the top 10 is like a very high target for him. I think most people will reply yes. In terms of the questions about who will win, I mean, if we knew that, we wouldn't be here. If we knew that before a tennis match, we probably wouldn't have this channel. We probably wouldn't have sports as a whole. And yeah, of course, Fils was the pretty much favorite. I would still say that he's the favorite, but one set, one break here, and it gets very tricky suddenly. So Yeah, definitely he lost that sort of comfort that he entered the match with, sort of knowing
sure.
that he's the better player, I guess, if you may call it that. And yeah, right now, I mean, definitely the tension for him, the pressure on him is a lot higher because it's also this rapid format, and you might just lose one set, one break, and one break, and in 10 minutes you might be losing a set already. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's a little bit in danger again. Here he did very well with the backhand. Find a good angle.
Fast Five, isn't that like a Fast and Furious movie or something like that? I don't know, Ghosty. That might be trademarked.
Yeah, he'd found the power with the forehand without getting out of pace. So he has basically 2 game points.
Yeah, the amount of weight that he's putting under every forehand finally doing some damage. So
Good. A winner, finally. So a nice comeback in this game, winning the last 3 points.
oh yeah, that's the forehand that you want from Arthur Fils. That's the forehand that kills people on the tour. That's good. Yeah, Luca van As doesn't run away with the set and a break, although there was, slight danger here, 15-30. So Fils will have to be cautious from here.
Yeah, let's say if it's going to be, dangerous on return. So far, it hasn't happened.
Yeah, that's true, Sean. 21 points, 5 serves each. Now it's just 11, 2 points each. Theoretically, just a bit of a cosmetic change because still the amount of total points played in a match is pretty similar. Because back then it was mostly best of 2 or 3. Now it's mostly best of 3 or 5. Now it's mostly best of 5 or 7. But yeah, it did impact the game for sure. I don't know. I feel like there would be a huge backlash if someone wanted to change the scoring system in tennis so drastically. But maybe in the future it will be needed. Who knows? There could legit be some players that would do well in that format, and actually ones that would fall in the rankings because of it. It's that different.
Ace. So another comfortable service game for Van Assche.
Yeah, it's a bit of a classic Van Assche performance so far in that you don't you'd struggle to tell what exactly he's been doing well, I guess. But at the same time, he's been holding so easily and
Yeah.
feels unable to make any impact on return. And that should theoretically be actually an asset for Arthur in this game. The fact that Luca doesn't have a huge delivery and that he should be in the rallies, he should be fighting in most of his return games, but so far he hasn't been able to achieve that at all. And there's a lot of untapped potential in Fisa's serve as well. He's probably not quite there yet, but I don't know, like against Striker, they were actually pretty similar in terms of unreturned serves and 3 points on serve, which of course was pretty vital for his win, given that off the baseline he's always going to be the more reliable player there. Here it's like a bit more even, but as we saw in the first set, he was actually dominated, at least in the amount of points won off the ground. So in the second set, Fils has only been putting in 14% of his first serves. But he finds an ace to go fairly low.
Yeah, exactly.
So who cares?
And now another one. Non-ace, but first serve. And wins the point. 40 love. So again, no deciding point so far, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, Van Assche broke to 15, and otherwise I don't think there was anything.
Yeah. Feels helps.
Yeah, if he finds that rhythm on the serve, that can also be very helpful. Although in the first set he was actually making a lot of his first serve. It was just that one game, that one dip that hurt him. And I guess it's like a bit controversial because usually, there's two ways to look at it. Because usually we say that in the best of 5 format, if you have a player who's like just likely to have a weaker set, weaker patch somewhere in the middle, that's good for him. But in this format, like 1 weak game literally means that you've lost the set.
Yeah.
And I guess Fils had that in the opening round against Nardi, right? Where he just had 2 awful games and he lost 2 sets. So here it's like, that it's not obvious if it actually suits players who are maybe tend to be a little erratic or inconsistent, just because one break can mean the end of the set very easily.
Absolutely. Something similar we can say that happened even in that Medvedevic Mikkelsen match. It was not maybe 2 full games, but lost a couple of tiebreaks. Maybe I don't remember really. But something similar can happen. Even if your level drops a little bit for 20 minutes, you can suddenly find yourself you lost the third set, you're down a break in the fourth, and then suddenly you are in a deciding set. And
that's kind of true. I mean, Medvedevic sort of lost his mind in the third set tiebreak, and then suddenly he's in the fifth, and he's also cramping. So yeah, he actually just had a couple of games, 20, 25 minutes, which usually wouldn't mean all that much, but there it just means that already he was in big trouble. Obviously, that was in the end a very big win for him, as also the one against Van Assche, in that he was able to save some of those lost leads or have these 3 set points against Van Assche in the third set. I mean, Van Assche had 3 set points in the third set, and Medvedevic saves that also. A welcome change for him, given that recently Medvedevic has lost a ton of matches, just throwing away leads or just getting tense when it mattered, like against Korda, like against Hassan, like against Menchik. Korda probably, of course, the most striking example, since it was the ATP semi-final. Sure. And he could have broken the top 100 with that win as well.
Oh, that's good. It's in this forehand, so for the first time, really feels he's trying to be dangerous in his return games.
Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah,
lucky, but still,
yeah.
I mean, all 3 points he really had control over, right? I mean, even the second one, it was him who made an error, and yeah, he's definitely making a push at Van Assche here.
And the backhand goes long, and we have the first break points for Arthur Fields.
6 forehand winners already as well.
Yeah, we must call them by name, because we can say the French, we can't say the 19-year-old.
Exactly. If we want to avoid going Fields and Van Assche in every single sentence, we have to go Luca or Arthur. I think yesterday in an article, I actually said for the Frenchman born in Belgium or something like that.
Oh,
As one.
yeah.
But this one is tricky because not everyone has to know about it,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Well, he
Ooh.
yeah, exactly. He saved himself in a ridiculous way.
Yeah, that was sick. I mean, you could see that Fields has this open line for the pass, but it was still hard to make that. And yeah, Van Assche lunges to the volley, manages to just barely get his racket on it. Both guys are laughing. Van Assche, of course, says sorry. But yeah, 2 more breakpoints coming.
And yeah, the second serve, and Fields goes very deep with his return. Van Assche strikes the backhand into the net, so 3-1.
Yeah, a little weird for Van Assche to try to hit it off the backhand in the first place there, right? Like, I mean, he was actually moving. Well, it is his better shot, but trying to overcomplicate things there, and that didn't work out. So now he's serving for the set, and very soon we might have them back to level terms. That's a decent question. Whose autobiography would be most interesting out of the big four? I don't even know. I mean, if we get like a super serious, super honest take, probably Djokovic, just because there's been like most controversy about him. I feel like
I was thinking also about probably Murray with his long-term injury.
Okay.
If we are a bit interested in, even if I know there is a documentary about the surgery he had after the Australian Open in 2019. But could be interesting if someone is a bit interested in his process coming back to tennis, if it's focusing on that.
Also, some dry Scottish English humor that would be good. I think that's a good idea. But Federer and Nadal, I feel like they would just put themselves as these sort of altar boys, and they are kind of altar boys. So I don't think it would be that exciting. Whereas Djokovic, Murray, maybe we could get more out of that. And by the way, regarding that baseline points one stat at the end of set 1, we just had it on the screen for set 2 as well, and it's like literally flipped. 11 for Van Assche in the opening set, 10-5 for Fields in the second one. So clearly this has so far been a bit of a baseline battle, which maybe is about to change as well, because Fields right now has found some amazing rhythm on his serve, and if he keeps doing that, then he could cover even for some losses of the ground with that. So yeah, good momentum now.
Let's probably say that
Fields.
for Van Assche, that seems like the main source of his points and of his success in this match. While Fields, for example, here we saw back-to-back cases to seal the set. He has definitely probably more possibilities even to overcome a difficulty from baseline. So winning also most of the points from the baseline, for sure. It's, you know, the 4-1 explains pretty well. 7 winners, 3 aces, 3 with his forehand.
This is a tough question. What is Polish humor? I mean, you know, I don't feel like Poland as a nation is one not to laugh in general. I think we do laugh a lot. Maybe like a lot of it would have political sort of undertones, probably like laughing at ourselves as well, but maybe not when others would do that. Like I would say that. Maybe also like there's this very firm line. I'm not looking at myself really, but maybe I also am. I think there's this very firm line between like people who can laugh at you, and these are the people closest to you. But if someone from the outside does it, then it maybe wouldn't be taken well. I just laugh at everything, you know. I there's no taboo for me. There's no, you know, whether it's abortion, whether it's religion, whether it's death. I laugh at everything, you know. But I think there are definitely a lot of people in Poland who like sort of allow their families to laugh at them, but it was done by someone from the outside. Then it would instantly be, some sort of a fight. Does Wrocław or Kraków have a challenger? Wrocław used to between 2014 and 2017. Kraków, to the best of my knowledge, has never had a challenger. I know there were like 8 challenger spots in Poland. I can probably come up with like 7 or 6, so I'm not sure if Kraków was there, but I don't think so. Wrocław used to hold an indoor challenger in February, and these were actually some of my first challenger matches that I ever watched, because that was on TV, and I remember watching that a ton actually on TV in like 2014, 15. Dustin Brown used to play it from like these more famous players. I don't know if Jan Hednych doesn't qualify. Oh, Jürgen Melzer, for example, I think he won it one year. I remember Konstantin Krawczuk going deep. So yeah, Wrocław used to, but unfortunately it's not held anymore, and it's a big shame because we don't actually have an indoor event in Poland at all. No indoor pro events. And a lot of our players would actually capitalize on that, since, you know, it's not only clay specialists here, and in fact I would even argue that most Poles tend to like faster courts, but that's not reflected at all in the pro events that we hold.
Oh, then quite a fun point. Started with a great return from field, but you know, it's been, you know, also Van Assche really good, and then the net basically ended the point in his favor, because in the end it became easy to close then the point. But it's been a fun rally. And Van Assche holds to love.
Just having a lot of fun as usual. Just like yesterday with Ghosty, I mean, we just choose to ignore it, and we get on with the tennis. So yeah, Van Assche did indeed hold, and yeah, it's kind of fun that in this format it just feels like every single game matters so much. if we were just starting the third set in a regular match, and it was the second game, we would be like, I mean, even if Fierce loses a game here, it doesn't really matter, right? Whereas here, if he loses a game, we're like, oh my God, he's already 90% on the way to losing a set. So I guess that's the main advantage of this. And of course, that's the sort of thing that the organizers have also been talking about quite a lot, that they just want to make every point feel important, and as many pressure points, as many important moments as usual. And I guess the event indeed does that, and you're sort of like expected to just stay at the screen for the whole duration of the match. Whereas sometimes, the third set starts in a match and I might, I don't know, go to make dinner or something like that. Here you just sort of feel like you have to be at the screen all the time because you are out for 10 minutes and then already the whole situation in the match is already completely different.
Also, a nice training for these young players to play a lot of important points, always been under pressure.
I haven't thought of that. Someone yesterday was asking about this on the chat, actually about like the purpose of this event and how, or maybe it wasn't on the chat, maybe it was in a podcast I recorded. I can't remember, but anyway, someone asked me about sort of what this event gives to the young players, and that it's not just another way to earn money, but it actually helps them in the long run. And that's actually an aspect that I maybe could have included if I thought of it earlier. That there's a lot of sort of high pressure play, and you gotta respond to it, or otherwise you're gonna be down. Yeah, no, Gene does definitely. But...
Yeah, here it's a great play to close this game. Forehand has definitely improved going on in this match.
Yeah, just as quick as the Van Assche hold was the Fils hold, although with a point lost.
Yeah, still 0 deciding points, which in the Van Assche matches has been, rare this to happen, to not have deciding points.
That's true actually, yeah. 2 out of 18 Shellbike went on break points against him, and of course there were a lot of deciding points included in that. Against Mikkelsen, also quite a lot of action, I think, in the 5th set even. And Medjedovic, yeah, I can't remember there, but yeah, certainly a lot of easy holds so far for Luca. Basically everything outside of that one game that he lost in the 2nd set, which we did not really expect. And if that is gonna continue, then yeah, I mean, of course, he's very much in the match here. Fizz says sorry for this return, but well, it just wasn't that clean, but it did get a nice angle on it at least. And
oh, that's close, but it's out. So 30-15 could have been quite a chance. Feel like, when Van Assche is he's serving the second serve, even if at the beginning he was still he's always getting the point, but I don't know, I have the feeling that right now can be quite important for him to have a higher percentage.
yeah, this game might go down as a bit of a missed opportunity for Fizz, because there have already been a few moments when he's like dictating off his forehand from the backhand side and doesn't really capitalize on that. And actually, yeah, I even see a stat on points won on serve, and Van Assche has won more so far than Fizz in terms of percentages, which, yeah, definitely is something to look at for Arthur, that he's not really doing any damage on Luca's serve, other than that one game, of course.
Yeah, Medjedovic not going to spoil the party. I would like also, for me it's going to be okay, even if,
I want that Medjedovic feels final for sure. I mean, the way Medjedovic has been playing, and also with the fact that we haven't seen that matchup yet. And Fils and Striker, while good in the groups, I feel like that wasn't, a match that I was so excited by, that I really, really want to see it on Saturday. Of course, I'm not going to complain about it. It's still an exciting matchup, 100%, but just wasn't at that sort of, Djokovic Sinner type of deal where after their match, you're just, can they play in the final? Can they play in the final? Can they please play at the Australian Open as well? Can they please play at the Indian Wells? It's not
no,
that
stop.
sort of level, right? So, yeah, I mean, here I would actually welcome a Fils Medjedovic final for sure. I don't know if Hamad is going to pull it off against Striker. I think it's very likely just a really serve-based match where a lot of randomness can be included. But I think Vanash, I don't want to be disrespectful towards him, but I think he would actually really decrease the entertainment value of the final if he made it. I'm sorry, but that's the case, right? I would like another Medjedovic Vanash, I guess. I would welcome another, Striker Vanash for the first time, but it's not quite the same. I mean, it doesn't have the same ring to it as
Yeah, I get
Fils
it.
playing one of these guys. And also, in terms of, well, that's a sort of personal preference thing, but in terms
Yeah,
of
in
the
this
play
game,
style and
there definitely was the feeling that could have could have been, something different. There have been some opportunities.
yeah, 2 points basically where Fils is absolutely in control of the point, has his inside out forehand out. There was this one inside in that he hit really well, and then Vanash comes up with a good counter that's like at the baseline, and it kind of won him the game. Luca, so good on him to get to that ball and get it back with such interest as well. And yeah, he's still absolutely in the set. There's some stats coming up on Van Asche's forehand placement, on how it was like really precise in the first set, and maybe in the second it wasn't, I guess. Yeah, absolutely. That in the second set, a lot of balls were just down the middle. But I think this is also there is a correlation between this and just how much he is sort of in the attack. Because if he's just defending against Fils' forehand, then most of his shots are going to be, I want to get the ball just down pretty safe down the middle, pretty deep, but nothing crazy. So
Yeah, second set, the thing
there are
changed.
some things misleading for me, like in terms of, well, not misleading, but I don't think it really paints the full picture. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, Gene, that would be a very normal outcome if Medjedovic and Striker have like 4 tie breaks or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, can just probably mean also that in the second set he's been, in defense more
Yeah.
than what he's been in the first set, in which, at least some of the times he could have dictated a bit and find more angle with the forehand.
Precisely, and of course, I also agree with the comment that Luca doesn't really have that wow factor. Yeah, he doesn't really have anything that stands out, at first glance, the sort of thing that would make people go crazy about your game. And yeah, that's why I think that him in the final would actually be a little less interesting than, well, not a little even than Fils.
Yeah, even I mean, I also, for example, I usually also enjoy players who, even if they don't strike that many winners, but they are very solid. But even this solidity doesn't feel like a wow factor for me. I don't know. Still I have to, I don't know, to try to get into his game better probably. But what I watched so far, I still haven't been really, that amazed by
Yeah,
anything.
I feel like he has a very mature game for his age, for sure. But Is he actually going to have a mature game for 21 or for 20? Well, that kind of remains to be seen. In his current state, I don't think he's really ready for the main tour. But of course, if he beats Fizz here, well done. And he will deserve his spot in the final. Yesterday, of
Oh
course,
yeah,
he
that's
by
for
beating
sure.
Beagles, and he managed to put himself in a decent position. He actually only needed to dodge a shell by 3-1 win. But yeah, I mean, definitely holding up well in this match so far, and absolutely, it would be hard to say who's been the better player so far. Obviously, Fizz has had the higher peaks, but you sort of expect that. But yeah, like as a whole, Vanash's sort of progression will be at a pretty steady line, right? But that's what you expect from these guys, and yeah, he's absolutely been as good as Fizz so far. And looks like he will also put Fields in a pretty tough position here and just force him to hold to stay in the set.
Yeah, let's say that for sure the thing about Vanash is that comparing also to some other guys that were here, you know, for sure Fields needs to do better than a certain level to be, he can't just hope in some big Vanash down, because I feel like
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. So he needs to step up his game, and then he becomes superior, more dangerous, has more weapons, but he still has to get over a certain height of level.
Yeah, and I guess that's what makes guys like Vanash tricky. Sometimes you can beat an Arthur Fils, a Hamad Medjedovic, or a Dominic Stricker kind of out of nowhere. I mean, they just come out, they have a terrible day, and they let you beat them. Like, it will happen from time to time. Whereas Vanash, you actually always just have to provide that level. And especially when the sort of going gets tough, and when the situation in a match, just like for Fils right now, is a little tricky, it's not that easy to still be playing,
Even
confident,
mid-match
aggressive tennis.
so far, let's say that the score situation is pretty even, because one set each, and so far we are on serve, but still feels you have the feeling that he went down and then up, and then probably Vanash was more a bit constant in his level. Even second set he lost 4-1, but didn't really seem like his level dropped a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's really going to depend, I think, on the next 5-10 minutes and how Fizz, I guess, paces himself, and whether he's going to be able to stay confident and stay proactive when the pressure is high. Because of course the pressure is very high now. He might get like 2 good first serves in now, and then the pressure goes away. But then, of course, in the tiebreak it will be again there. And I guess, yeah, the pressure is mostly on him, given that, well, he's first of all a big favorite, but also, yeah, the guy who actually needs to produce something in order to win. Whether Vanash can just keep playing what he's doing, keep doing what he's doing. And probably a bit disappointed Fizz will be with that previous game as well, because, yeah, I mean, he just throws out a couple of really poor returns, nothing crazy on the Vanash serves, and yeah, he just doesn't get any play on it. So but here Vanash could have made him work for it a little bit more, definitely. Very risky shot from Fizz. It barely went over the net, and yeah, if that slice was in, then Fizz would have been in even more, well, I don't want to say trouble yet. He still would have been the one dictating, but like, yeah, he would have had to perhaps maybe risk a little more, perhaps change the direction. So an opportunity missed, and here, oh, I thought the serve was in, but apparently not. I guess we just had a game that we were sort of saying that Fils had a few opportunities he could have capitalized on. Maybe it's going to be that one for Van Assche now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
As in a moment where he just doesn't want to give Fils anything for like semi-free, he's actually sort of doing that. So not like fully for free, because he definitely blasted Fils definitely blasted that forehand down the middle pretty well, but but it is 30 all. So
Yeah, 30 all. So
that's the that's really crunch time for Fils now.
the second serve. And the double fault. So we have a couple of set points for Van Assche.
Yeah, that serving rhythm of Fils from the previous games has gone away a little bit. And despite a couple of relative freebies for Van Assche.
Ace here.
From Van Assche.
So that's the first deciding point of this match. And it's an important one, because Van Assche can go 2 sets to 1 up if he makes this.
This time going outside Fils. I think I've seen him a lot of times already go deuce side and just down the tee. That return from Van Assche was already really good. Like just getting him into the point where he kind of had no business in being in, but yeah, eventually he still loses it. So a big save.
Tie break.
Massive save from Fils with the ace, very timely, right on the line. I think Van Assche was not, certain if it was in or not, but and then that point where he just stays a little steady, manages to hit a few good shots in, and it's enough.
Yeah, I was checking the tiebreak stats for them, and at least in the main tour from the ATP website, and Van Assche is actually 13 before this week was 13-5.
Ooh.
So that's a good percentage, yeah.
Wow.
And Fils 9-8.
I mean, 9-8 is good, but like 13-5, that must be up there with some of the best on the tour.
Yeah, it's almost Djokovic and
yeah, literally.
Yeah, but I mean, it's only the main tour. So
yeah, and I get it. But
I've seen this from the ATP website just quickly.
It's not the biggest sample size, I guess, but over the course of the year, not all the players will play more tiebreaks. So I think Van Assche actually must be pretty high on the leaderboards in that. Of course, he just double faulted to give.
Yeah. Because now, of course,
if he started all his tie breaks like this, I don't think he would be that high in them. But we'll see.
I mean, he won a tiebreak also against Djokovic this year. It wasn't the best version of Djokovic. Still won that match, Novak, but lost the tiebreak against Van Assche.
You're right, he did.
By the way, 2-love, so a difficult start for him in this tiebreak. Yeah, this week he played a lot. 4 tiebreaks were yesterday. I mean, 2 won and 2 lost, I think. And 3-love. So would be very important.
That 2-love point for Fils was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just firing up on the forehand and eventually following up on the promise. 72% on tiebreaks won. That's actually below Djokovic, but it would be like second on the tour or third on the tour, something like that. So that's pretty crazy. Of course, yeah, it looks like this week it's gonna get a little lower actually.
Yeah, definitely, because
And wait until you see the next point. I mean, the Fizz forehand is just, kicking ass and taking names at the moment.
Yeah, I did also very well with the backhand early in the rally. Stay there.
Holding up against Van Asch in this backhand cross-court rally, which doesn't always have to happen for him, and then just takes over so easily. So it looks like these 2 set points might be very crucial in regards to the whole match. These 2 set points that he saved.
Mm-hmm. And 5-love. So yeah. Basically, he's disrupting what I.
Yeah. Looks like Van Asch is not as good in tiebreaks in the fast four format.
Yeah. Yeah, basically won all the 7 points played since that 1540. 15 was 30-40, yeah.
Yeah, look, Van Asch is actually not included on the under pressure leaderboards from the ATP, but basically his percentage is more or less like second and third place here, which are Sebastian Ofner and Alex Molchan. I'm assuming that Molchan and Ofner might have even less tiebreaks, though, it played in 2023 than him.
That you're thinking, you have searched for the 2023, right?
Yeah. But then if you go to Molchan's or Ofner's website, then the numbers are actually different. I don't know. The ATP is weird, I guess.
Yeah, I think that it takes in consideration also breakpoints saved.
No, because I didn't go for the rating. I actually went for tiebreaks won, literally.
Okay.
Because you can sort by that, right? But then the numbers don't actually match with what the players have in their win-loss for 2023.
Yeah, okay.
So I don't fully understand it. But it seems like Molchan was 9-4, so 13-5 is a tiny bit better, and Ofner was 8-5, so 13-5 is also, of course, better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might be that just Novak really had a better tiebreak percentage than Van Asch before this week. And before this week might be important.
7-love. 7-love.
So of this event, I'm not sure.
Probably first match.
I don't know. I'll see, but can't remember. Oh yeah, against Mikkelsen first set. I barely watched.
Oh
that match,
yeah.
That's
right.
why I don't remember. But
same.
He is basically now, if he loses this tiebreak, which I'm assuming he will, and in fact he has just done that. He is now 4-4 in the tiebreaks at the NextGen finals this week. So definitely harm to his percentage. 17-9 it's going to be. And Djokovic, by the way, this year was on 31-8, so clearly still hands down,
sure.
just above the
field.
field.
And curiously, before that 7-love tiebreak, he just held to love, so it was basically 11 straight points to end the set. Yeah, so still here winning the baseline the baseline count, 12-7. Yeah, 7-1 in the tiebreak. So basically played very well. 55%. Yeah. Van Assche is holding quite well with the second serve, but still probably needs a higher percentage. Feels always getting the point when he makes the first serve in.
Oh, 100% in the third set. And that was actually a pretty long set by NextGen Finals standards
Yeah.
as well. So.
Yeah, and Van Assche was returning even more than what Fields did in this set. Yeah, but still nothing really, really important when, some just curiosities.
Yeah. And that really tells you also how, Fields was able to just get a lead in the second set and etc. When he finds that serving rhythm, he can just really run away with it pretty quickly. It hasn't been constant for him, but right now he is the one who will have all the momentum. He starts first as well, right, in the fourth set. So he's in a really good position to lock up that final spot now.
Mm-hmm.
When he started I guess he started the first set as well, but
yes,
I was
third
trying to
set
say that,
tiebreak. The average speed on the forehand 149.
Holy hell! And yeah, 138 in the match is already crazy. 149 in the tiebreak. By the way, for any of you American weird fellas with the English system,
Oh yeah, you're right.
we have to say that it's about 92.5 miles per hour on the average forehand in the tiebreak. And when it comes to in the third set tiebreak, when it comes to the whole match, he's at about 86, which, as you probably know, I mean, 80s, we are used to seeing that, right? Like more or less 80, I think it's pretty common for a lot of players. 86 average, that's not something that you encounter every day, but yeah, 90 something. Even in
great.
8 points, even in just 8 points is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And just the amount of pace plus spin that he has on that shot is, of course, what makes it one of the best in the game. Maybe it's also a reliability on like a faster court when people attack that extreme grip. But yeah, Jeddah, it's a little out of the question, let's say, for the most part, especially from someone like Van Assche. So it still feels it still feels very much on Fields' racket, no pun intended. That if he is at the top of his game, he's probably winning this match, this game, this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the main problem for him has been that he hasn't been quite as steady and quite as fiery on the forehand side all the time.
Yeah, which is probably the step he has to take in order to, but I'm sure that he will improve.
Yeah.
Yeah, this backhand was out by no more than I was expecting.
Yeah. I think that's
all.
pretty clear. Fields, he is in at that stage where we might actually not see him at the NextGen finals next year. Like, it is possible, he will be eligible for 2 more years along with Van Assche, but even this year, I think Fields was the guy we were sort of like, is he gonna play it? But well, he is here. He was ranked about 40 spots higher than anyone else in the field. I guess maybe even 50. But still, of course, with guys like Van Assche, Striker, Medjedovic, it's not like he doesn't have any worthy rivals here. Rankings don't really play, obviously, but
still as a number one seed, I think almost every year there was even one guy ranked higher, because when Alcaraz was 32,
Alcaraz was a little higher. Last year we had Musetti.
18, I remember, was Tsitsipas, probably 18, something like that in the world.
Demon probably 19 would have been higher.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, he won Atlanta and he won Sydney that year, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
he must have been higher, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that quickly, but I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, I think it was mostly not where
And I'm
Fields is
sure
ranked.
I'm sure that even Rublev in 2017 was at a good
Yeah,
rank.
after the US Open quarters, probably he was at like 30 at least. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think it was actually Fields' ranking that made us think that he might skip it.
Yeah,
But more
the
or less
difference.
exactly, the contrast between his and the other contestants. So in 2022, it was of course Musetti ranked 23, Alcaraz, as we said, 32, and also Korda 39 in 2021. I guess Fields is like a spot or two higher, but that doesn't really matter. In 2020, of course, it wasn't held. In 2019, we had Alex de Minaur, as I said, at 18. Then in 2018, we had, as you mentioned, Tsitsipas 16, and also de Minaur was already 33rd. So he was also higher than Fields at the moment. And in 2017, Rublev was barely higher, like 35. So, but yeah, basically the contrast between Rublev then wasn't that high because Rublev was 35th, whereas Medvedev's the 7th seed was 63rd. So it was such a close field in terms of the rankings. So it never really happened that the first seed was 50 spots higher than the other players, and that's basically why we sort of thought that Fields might be a bit above it. And it did feel like that when he played Nardi, that at first that maybe he's not, his head is not in the game. But of course later on he showed. And actually he's only 30 spots higher, ranked higher on the entry list than Van Assche. But of course Van Assche has now dropped his Maya points and he's like barely in the top 100 by now. So actually it's about 50 spots realistically. But I guess in terms of the entry list, it was only 30. In terms of the seeding, at least, I'm not sure how to call the list. Anyway, how has the match been so far? Guessing Fields' power forehand to forehand advantage working out well for him. Actually, it's just a bit of a Nardi again situation from the opening match, I would say, where once Fields is at his peak level, once he finds his range, there's no real play here for Van Assche. You get the third set tiebreak when Fields is just crushing the forehand at 150 kilometers an hour on average. Whereas Van Assche has just been, able to do what he does best, just maintain a steady level, ask maybe from time to time some questions, and see if Fields blunders. And he kind of did. He had Van Assche had 2 set points in the third set, so he easily could have been leading 2-1 up. But Fields saves them with an ace and then a short rally where the pace of his forehand sort of makes Van Assche commit a forced error cross-court of the forehand, but at the same time, I think it was a gettable ball. But still, like these 2 set points, if the match ends in 4 sets, these 2 set points are going to be where it was won, lost. But also with the extension of that being the third set tiebreak and how much Fields just destroyed the ball there. So Luca dropped points. Yeah, last year he won the Challenger in Maya at the end of the year, which of course he's not defending this year because there would be no point in him doing that. And there's also the NextGen finals this week. He won his maiden Challenger title at the end of last year and last week of the season in Maya. But that was on the back of a very good stretch of like 4 or something events where he was getting to the final, the semi all the time.
Yeah, here a mistake, so 30 love.
Yeah, if coming back to Jake's question, like if Fields was able to maintain that sort of, I don't know, intensity, concentration for the whole set, for the whole match here, he maybe would have been already, on the way to the locker room and with a win, or on the way to the media room, wherever he goes after the match. But yeah, then he has a game like this where he sort of just allows Van Assche to have a very easy hold, despite, of course, Luca not being the strongest of servers. So it's not been an ideal performance, but when he finds his range for these like quick 5-10 minutes, then he actually is able to get a lead, to separate himself.
We just say like a win is a win if it comes, because it's still not over, of course. But
NextGen 2024 on the carpet in Germany, maybe. John will have the experience advantage in terms of the surface if our famous show match will be held on carpet. I actually don't know where I would like it to be held, because, well, on clay, I feel like my physical advantage, of being a lot younger would be just able to shine a bit more. And on carpet, I don't know. I mean, theoretically, I like quick surfaces, low bouncing as well, but I don't know. I mean, John has, as a sort of semi-German, you gotta know carpet. Carpet is in his blood, even though he's not German. But if you spend so much time in Germany, you're gonna love carpet. I mean, just rule of thumb, it works like this. I don't know how and why, but yeah, but Fizz still has to be careful so that this first forehand here in this game doesn't end up with him as in a tricky position in that game. But
yeah, indeed, you can see Van Assche frustration for not having been able to put a return on court, because there are some moments in which you feel that it's at least important to make your opponent play.
Yep. And that's generally something he's good at, but
yeah, and even here could have done a bit more probably with this backhand down the line. Feel like
another shot he'll be frustrated with.
He has this one,
Yep, that's very much in his repertoire. You could even call it a trademark of his, and doesn't work out this time.
He was he was getting killed by a serve. And a bad return. Let's say that he played a bad game here. In the end, Fields holds to 15, but with that feeling that Van Assche could have at least done something better to try to.
Didn't actually need to do all that much besides putting in the second serves on a few occasions, right? And that's after missing the first forehand in the game and going down off 15. So now we've got Van Assche in the same sort of position that feels almost blundered at in the previous set, and it's even worse, because of course he might lose the match if he's broken here.
Yeah, what are you thinking about this event being held here, having seen now, almost, a good part of the event?
There's a lot of arguments against it. I mean, the fact that the crowds, of course, haven't been too full, and I mean, you could argue that the players deserve better. I don't know if this was maybe needed in order to keep the event going. Who knows? We are stuck with Jeddah for 5 years anyway, so we kind of have to live with that. Maybe there's going to be some bigger tennis culture in Saudi Arabia. Who knows? At the same time, there's also the concern about sports washing, right? Which, I guess that event is a good example of that. Just sort of making people more accustomed to seeing sports in Saudi Arabia and like not thinking about the political, sociological reasons of why it's not
sure.
exactly a, let's say, civilized country in the world that we, in the sense of the word that we sort of in the Western landscape use it. So I mean, as a fan, as an enjoyer of the game, I honestly just look at what's happening on the court.
Oh yeah, sure.
But I think this event was fine in Milan, but if it's gonna give a lot more money to the guys as well, I don't think the harm in it is that huge for now. I certainly wouldn't like the situation that they have in golf right now, right? That Saudi Arabia basically has their own huge league, and then there's also another tour.
Sure.
And if we have something like that, I will be very pissed about that. But for now,
sure.
having 1 or 2 events there a year doesn't seem like the end of the world.
No, sure.
There are some advantages
That's right.
that come with it. It's a tough topic. One that I actually don't even think is that controversial. Like I'm not afraid of speaking out on controversial things. It's just one that I guess doesn't really bother me all that much. But it's definitely important, of course, here as it's the first edition, and we're sort of seeing how things go and how, what the tennis culture is even in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that's right. I agree. Fields looks in charge of the point. Yes. So 30 all. Fields is 2 points away from winning. As well as Van Assche is 2 points away from getting to the tiebreak, but
that was super weird though from Van Assche, right? I mean, the +1 shot with the forehand slice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, why? Why on earth is my question.
Exactly. Was a bit weird.
And I guess he paid the price for it because he just allowed Fields to have it his way.
He just hits an ace at 212 kilometers per hour, and so he has the chance to get into the tiebreak.
That's probably some speed you don't usually expect from him as well.
Yeah, even if I saw something about 2200, sorry. 2000. Okay.
Even some Grove couldn't hit that.
No. And it's out, so we have a match point. Game point, but it's also a match point.
Yeah, but that's nice. I mean, percentage tennis at its finest. Van Assche hits this serve out wide.
Wow.
Good footwork there as well. Crouching a little bit to that backhand, and it's just placed very well. It's not on the line, but it doesn't need to be. It has a good margin on it. Really
Let's
good
see
stuff
that
there.
We've had the opposite situation of the third set in this game, even if of course this time it was not only a set point but a match point. Let's see now how the tiebreak goes. Yeah, Fizz starts well and gets the first point. And in the end, Van Assche gets the point. He was in trouble because the return was incredibly deep, but did a good job to stay in the rally.
Yeah, definitely we can already see that it's not like the third set tiebreak where Van Assche is, well, just totally dominated. Now he's actually responding. And, well, the next rally should be one of the best ones in the match.
It's out, this one, so...
Yeah, would have been point Van Assche for sure if he won it, so quite brutal to miss out just by a little bit there. I think he also thought he made it. Well, that's a great point from both guys. The net court, I guess, it stopped them for a moment, but like it didn't actually give the advantage to either player. And eventually it is Fields who wins the point.
And here plays great.
Yep.
3-1.
Yeah, really high class here. The cross-court backhand finish as well. Not something he is always fully comfortable with, but he was here. I love the dynamic forehand earlier. Tie breaks so far have really worked out well for Fields, but let's see if that continues.
Yeah, this backhand is, wow, very good. Also to watch it in the replay.
Yep.
Another great point from him, because the NetCard could have caused him a bit of a trouble. 4-1, getting close to the win. Okay, got the second point, so still a must hold for him. And yeah, he takes even this point, so
yeah, and it's a good effort to get it back to 4-3. Of course, Fields now with 2 serves, but if Van Assche can win just one of the next 2 points,
yeah,
still very much in it, still very much in the game, which would be quite painful to Fields as well, because of course he's already had a match point. Now a big lead, which he's kind of about to throw away, and probably we'll see it in like 5 seconds.
Well, I don't know if it's a double fault. No. Yes.
Yeah. Pretty huge double fault, and huge in many
exactly,
many ways, both in terms of the potential importance for the tiebreak, but also in terms of the margin that the serve went out by. Yeah, the tension really could be cut with a knife here. at the moment, and both guys have sort of acted up on it in the last 2 minutes or so.
This is a return he should have made.
Yeah, this is absolutely unforgivable to throw it out by this much without actually even like being aggressive on it, right? I mean, I don't think he was trying to do all that much with it.
No.
Well, he'll know it himself, and definitely will be frustrated with this miss.
Yeah, in the end, Fields gets to match point again because he already did.
Yep, second match point, and then if he doesn't clinch that one, then third match point on then finally on his own serve.
Mm-hmm. 6-5.
Yeah, and this is huge. First time Fuse gets the chance to end this match on his own terms, on his own serve.
Oh, he misses the forehand. 6-all, 3 match points have gone away.
Yeah, little sloppy, maybe a little rushed, and it's 6-all. Of course, still not the end of the world for him. He wins the next point. He has another match point, but then it wouldn't be on his serve anymore. But yeah, we are now really seeing how this match has been pretty much based on these few points here or there, despite us feeling, that when Fields is playing his best, Luca can't really compete with it. But still, I mean, the 2 set points in the third set, and now we're seeing such a dramatic end to the tiebreak as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a close one in terms of the score so far.
Yeah.
Another match point. But again, with Van Assche.
Yeah, kind of had to win the point after that plus one forehand. After that save and how easy it was for him on the plus one. But yeah, tension really, the last few points, I feel like it's been kind of ruining the players in a way. And just not allowing them to perform at their very, very best.
Oh, and that's it.
Yeah, and with a tragic error as well. Like
definitely felt that despite all what we have been said, in the end, it feels like Van Assche could have done better here, even in this tiebreak, and who knows what would have happened. But Fields in the end deserved the win because still had, probably the most brilliant moments in this match. So
for like 5 or 10 minutes he would fire up. Of course, the biggest example in the first set tiebreak, and that really steered the match in his favor. But of course, the last 2 sets, all in all, I mean, they ended up being very close and just based on a few points. Yeah, Fields is choking, says G, and Luca Van Assche definitely was as well. It can be sometimes like that, right? With a match between 2 friends, a very important match as well. And Arthur Fields clinches it in the end. So it's the predictable scoreline after all, but it's not like it was really easy for Fields to get there.
No,
he manages to be in the final. So I guess so far he's actually lost quite a lot of sets, 4 on the way to the final. But
he lost four sets, so an average of 1 per match.
Yeah, won't be the bit like an overwhelming prohibitive favorite against either Stricker or Medjedovic. It will certainly feel like a much closer affair than this one did just before the match. So even more excited to for tomorrow. As John told you guys in the chat a second ago, we have the second semifinal coming up as well on the channel after this one. So stay tuned. Gonna be a different stream. So see you guys there.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.